is. So when we say something concerning God and his reliable self and how dependable he is, then God being reliable should only have to say something once and we take him at his word. So once God says a thing, then we should take him at his word. In the scripture in verse 35, it says, once God swore by his own holiness. He only had to say it once because we know that God is holy and we know him in his reliable and dependable self, that he only needs to say a thing one time because there is no one compatible to him. There is no one or anything compatible to his holiness. So one time God says a thing, then if he made a promise, then that one time he made a promise, then he has to bring it to pass. There is no possibility or there is no room for error for him to go back on his word. Because he is holy, his track record is spotless. He never can tell a lie. He never will tell a lie. He has made a promise to David based on his own character. He said, to make sure that you understand that I'm going to bring this thing to pass, I'm going to swear by my own holiness. No one else has a more reliable source. Sometimes it may seem that God, in his reliable and dependable self, sometimes he takes a little longer to bring about the promise than we think that he should do. Sometimes it seems that God is taking a little long in bringing this promise to pass because in our flesh we feel like when God makes a promise we should get it right then and there. But because God is faithful and he has sworn by his own holiness, he must bring it to pass. Now we remember that God's timing is not our time.
That's it.
So in verse 36 it goes on and it says, it uses the word seed. Verse 36 says, his seed shall endure forever, and his throne as the sun before me. Using the word seed means that the promise of God does not stop with one individual.
That's it.
The promise that God is giving is not limited to only one individual, but it is also connected to those who are connected to the one whom God promised it to. So when you're talking about a seed, you're talking about the promise that was made to David. But because David is connected to someone else, because David has a seed, then the promise will also be connected to the seed. You're not feeling me, so let me make it a little more personal. If you are a parent and you have ownership of something,
That's it.
and you have a child who is your seed, then the thing that you have ownership of is also ownership to your seed.
That's it.
So therefore, if you live in a home and you are the parent, and in that home your child lives in the same home as you, then it's not just your house.
It's theirs too.
It's your children's house as well.
That's it.
Because when your children are talking to their friends or someone else and they say, I'm going home, they go into the same house that you live in.
That's it.
So
Speak.
therefore,